Hi Louise, it's an honor to meet you. I'm working for a French online magazine called Mademoiselle, which is targeted for young women, and they love Sherlock. They are mad about Sherlock, they are very jealous that we get to do this interview, so thank you so much for being here, and it's very nice to meet you.
Je t'en prie, it's my pleasure.
Love you. And you speak good French. She
Franglais, mon franglais est excellent.
Très bon franglais. So we're going to do the interview in English, but if you want to switch to French, I'm good in Franglish too.
Okay, fantastic.
So my first question is, how did you create your character of Molly? And how did you work with the script? Did you follow it or did you add your little touch?
Ça fait longtemps maintenant. I mean, we've been playing Sherlock for 6 years now.
Yes.
Molly, at the beginning was she very on the page, very sweet and very unconfident and just very, I don't know, just little. And she was also sort of like a joke, not in a horrible way, but it was a bit of a, just a joke.
Yes.
And I could just hear Andrew talking loudly over there. Tais-toi, Andrew.
Andrew, you're loud.
Right. He's distracting me. I'm sorry. Maybe I have si je bois du café là, je parle très vite et I have some ideas.
We can be louder.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Molly. I wanted to give her a heart. I wanted her to be all heart. She could be funny then, that's fine, but also the way in for me was to find her enormous heart and tell that story. The fact that played, you could see it on screen, meant that they became interested in keeping her around and seeing what that character would do in that world.
Did you know from the beginning what her relationship with Sherlock would become? That she would help him and be a tremendous part of his life?
No, at the start it was exactly as written. You just did the script, which was she's burning with love for him and he treats her like shit.
Yeah, he's clearly not burning in love for her.
In a way, it didn't matter to Molly. Her love is enormous, so it's okay. But she goes on a journey, as we all do, and must in our lives, which is what's a joy. One of the joyful things about playing a character over a few years is that you grow up, and so does she. She changes, and yeah.
Did you feel stressed about joining a version of Sherlock, which is one of the most important works of literature and has a lot of fans? Andrew told us he was very, very stressed.
Well, I think it's different for Andrew because he's playing Moriarty, which brings with it this huge history of people playing Moriarty. Molly's new. Yeah. Molly doesn't have any baggage. En anglais, on dit baggage. I don't know if you have the same expression, des valises, pas de valises. She just has a little portfolio. So she's nothing. So no, I didn't. I was just happy to be a part of this incarnation, and the script was excellent, and it's not always excellent. You read a lot of shit, and the script that I read for the pilot was fantastic. And this moment we were in the room with Andrew, and Andrew's not in the first one, is he?
He's in the
third
episode of the first season. Yeah.
We're in the room with Martin and
I think we
what's
see
his name? Benedict.
in the second episode when he's your boyfriend, when he's Jim from IT.
Is it
maybe,
that?
Maybe
I can't remember. It's
like,
awful, isn't
see
it?
him first, but we don't know who he is. So.
Anyway, so in the read-through with Martin and Ben, you're immediately going, okay, this is brilliant. I mean, they're just fantastic together and were from the dot. So I think, in fact, the pressure increased over the series rather than at the beginning. For me, at the beginning, there was nothing to lose. I was just walking in and going, okay, and trying to love him with all my heart. And after that, it became, oh shit, we've made this thing, and now you have to.
Yeah, you have to
be as good as the thing.
Did you know that it would have such a success, this version of Sherlock? Did you guess it was going to be huge?
I'd love to say, yes,
huge?
I knew. I'd love to say, yeah, no, absolutely, I knew. No, none of us knew. We all knew it was good, but loads of things are good, and this doesn't happen. It was just something magic, I think. the combination of it being a story, a set of stories that everybody loves already, and their chemistry, the writing, Paul's direction, because he's an artist, you know, to his bones. He's just an artist, and he made it visually cinematic and beautiful and sort of delightful. The whole thing had a lot of delight in it, and I think that was why it was you know, it sort of hit that sort of sweet spot. When you're if you're playing tennis, there's a spot on the racket where it's perfect, and that's what happened because there's a strange combination. But you can't predict that kind of thing. If you could predict that kind of thing, we'd all be loaded. We'd all have loads of money and loads of awards. You know, it's just one of those things.
Andrew told us he went on the internet at the beginning to see what people thought about his Moriarty, and then he stopped going. Do you go and see online or in magazine, in papers, what people think of Sherlock, of Molly?
I'm on Twitter.
Yes, yes, I follow you. You're
Oh,
very
do you?
fan.
Oh,
Yeah.
thank you. I'm on Twitter, and I first went on Twitter because of Sherlock 6 years ago, or 5 years ago when the first series came out, because I wanted to know what people thought about the show, because, you know, it's an interesting... That's a dog.
Yeah, there's a dog.
He's shaking. Well, it's a kind of a
He looks
dog.
like a famous dog. Is it your dog?
It's not. I tell you, my dog would be a big dog. I wouldn't have a dog with a face that small. Sorry to small dogs everywhere. I like Dachshunds, but that little one is not for me. It's more of a cat than a dog, and ça m'intéresse pas. Anyway, where were we?
We were on your Twitter account.
Oh yes, we're on my Twitter account.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I joined to just see what people thought of the show, and then I really enjoyed the conversation that is possible to have with people who enjoy the show on that. And I've been having that conversation for 5 years, and I really like it. And the thing is, if you believe great things that people say about you, you have to believe the shit. So I tend to try not to sort of take any of it on board. I'm just happy when it touches people, when my character speaks to people. I don't know, you know, telly stories can have really strange impacts on us as people. For some reason we see ourselves in something and it resonates in a way that we perhaps couldn't have imagined, and I think I just really like that certain of our, you know, efforts, like in this case Molly for me, somehow gets to speak to people. I love it, and I think it's great, and I welcome it and celebrate it. I mean, as for people, if people don't like Molly and they don't like me, then that's fine, you know. If they come and tell me, I'll tell them to go away and say thanks very much, goodbye. But, you know, it's about them. That stuff's about them, you know, and also you can't please everyone. How boring if everyone thought you were great. I mean, it's just dull. You can't be doing your job right if everyone just goes, wow, you're wonderful. You know, because it's just asinine. I don't know if that's... Usually if I say a word confidently in a French accent that's an English word, it can be asonime. Is that a French word?
I think
Sounds like it could be.
I'm not sure.
Yeah, it just means like...
It's boring.
Yeah.
There's no challenge.
Exactly.
As a woman, the character of Molly evolves a lot, and there's been a lot of talk recently about sexism and representation in entertainment. Is it something that matters to you? You're a woman, you're an actress, you go on stage, you go in movies, you go on TV. Do you take special interest in diversity on screen?
Yeah, massively. And not just sort of diversity in terms of representation across the board, you know, race and all the rest of it. It's imperative that our stories reflect us. Yeah, I'm really bored of how sexist our you know, so much television and other media are. I'm bored. I want a new way of telling stories. I mean, I always say this, but like a lot of writers are no longer interested in women when they stop wanting to fuck them. And I'm bored of that. I'm bored of it. You know, what's wrong? You know, there's just, I don't know, I want to see loads more older women on stage and on telly. We need more women writing, we need more women directing, and this obsession with being sort of classically beautiful or symmetrically beautiful, boring. It's not just me as an actor talking. Obviously I want to do loads of great parts, you know. I'm not going to be disingenuous about that. That's what I want, you know, from a personal point of view. I wish that there were better opportunities for somebody, you know, like me. But I think it's more than that. It's more than just my job and my ambition and my career. It's these stories that we watch and that we invest so much in and that tell us about ourselves. It's reflexive insofar as that's the story that we tell ourselves about who we are. So if it's always a male protagonist or women getting their tits out, then, you know, that's who we are. It sort of confirms and becomes the story of our culture. And, you know, my best friend's a headmistress at a primary school.
Yeah.
And she says, you know, that by a really early age, boys don't want to read stories with little girls as protagonists.
Yes.
You know, and it's the same thing on telly. You know, big boys don't want to watch TV shows with big girls as protagonists. And we need to just change that. We need to address that and just go, this idea of the woman as other. You know, so the man is the sort of normal story, and then if it's a woman, then it's something worth making a song and a dance about. I mean, that's just rubbish. We just need to address that. You know, I'm talking in very sort of abstract terms, but I hope you understand what I mean. It's just want to tell stories, interesting stories with, you know, and it's not just about virgins, mothers and whores, you know. You'd be astonished how many characters still fit into those tedious tropes. You know, it's just boring. I think it's really, I'm really excited by this, by a lot of the gender-blind casting that's going on in London at the moment in the theatre. We've got a couple of brilliant actresses, really genuinely extraordinary actresses playing big lead Shakespeare male parts. I mean, Maxine Peake did Hamlet recently, but Michelle Terry is a fine actress. She's doing Henry V. on stage. Glenda Jackson's going to play King Lear. And
so
it doesn't.
Moving in the right
well,
direction.
I think that conversation's happening. I hope it's just not a fad or a phase or a sort of vogue thing. But you know, there are other massively important issues for women. It's not just about, you know, parts on telly. You know, the media is saturated with sexism, and you have people with PhDs described as grandmothers in a way that you'd never describe a man with a PhD as a grandmother. You know, a grandmother, you wouldn't describe him as a grandmother unless you were, you know, being gender fluid, but you would never describe him as a grandfather. It's ridiculous. Then let's just, you know, be aware of that. But, you know, much more important than that even, there are cultures in which girls are completely fucked and have to dress up as boys in order to, you know, exist. There's all those, worldwide there's a much more pressing and distressing, you know, state of affairs. In here we have it really easy, and I mean, I'm going to say that we do. Yes. But still, 2 women a week in England, in the UK, 2 women a week in the UK are killed by somebody who has at some point professed their love to them, and 2 women a week kill themselves because of domestic violence. So that's 4 women a week dying because of domestic violence in the UK. You know, the rape figures are through the roof. It's not, you know, there's an issue, there's a big issue, and but it's just not as big an issue as in other parts of the world right now. You know, FGM, child marriage, these things are just exceptionally important. But I don't believe that if you start talking about sexism in the English media, that means you don't give a shit about FGM. It's not, you know,
yeah, it's
you care about both.
Real.
Yeah, it's the idea is like you can't complain about tax on tampons because people are having their labia cut off. Well, you know, actually you can care about both things.
There's always worse elsewhere. So.
Yeah, you can care about both things, and otherwise you're just silencing debate, really, aren't you? Just chucking my orange on top. Hang on, it's a 3-second rule. It's fine.
And so in the Abominable Bride, I have trouble saying it.
So do I. I'm not going to say it.
Your character is forced to dress as a man because she couldn't be a doctor in this era. Was it fun for you to address this kind of issues with this feminist subtext, which is really fun? And
well, I loved the fact that the show did that. I wasn't really addressing a feminist issue myself when I was doing it, because I was just too busy enjoying having a moustache and, you know, strutting around in my suit. You know, it was just really fun to do. It's the one scene, and it was really interesting, you know, as somebody who loves being a woman, how much I enjoyed being a man was really interesting. I was like, shit, I really like this. There was something, you know, well, there was something empowering about it, and I don't think that's an accident. You know, that I'm not surprised, but on one level I am surprised, because I thought being a woman was the greatest thing ever, and actually, look at this, strutting around with a pair of socks down my trousers.
The power of the moustache.
Yeah, I didn't want to take it off, I loved it. It was just really fun. I thought, oh, and also you get way more parts as a mum, so maybe I'll just let this grow.
Maybe you can be Louise Brealey.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to wrap it up. Thank you so much. I have one last question. Can you tell us anything about the next season of Sherlock?
Yes, I'm in it.
Great!
That's all I can tell you. Oh,
Right.
I'll get told off. And we're shooting at the minute, obviously, which is great. It's just lovely to be with everybody again. You know, they're friends. So I feel just ridiculously lucky, and just want to tell, you know, this part of the story. Do our best.
You
Orange in my hair. Anyway,
Right.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Thanks a lot.
Bye-bye.
It was perfect.
No, I found it quite easy, sadistically easy.